What's up, everybody? It's the Lorcana Beehive, and we're back with another episode of the Lore Lowdown. This is episode 24. Can you believe it? We're just off the heels of another big event in Utah, the 1.6K at the New Game Plus.
Let's go.
Me and Eckroth actually ended up taking it down. We chopped the finals, so it was a big win for me. I'm super excited about it. As far as the meta goes, tons of blue green again. They
Really?
came out in strides at like Lehigh was all control decks. Every single person in the room was playing a control deck, it seemed like.
That's
And
crazy.
same thing at New Game Plus. Like there was like 8 or 9 blue greens and like 6 or 7 or something of
Six,
blurple.
seven.
Yeah, 6, 7. But yeah, I don't know what people are thinking. Like everybody just wants to play that blue green list with the Milos and the Ink Geyser.
I mean, it's pretty fun. Like it's got
Yeah,
some excitement to it, right?
Ink Geyser's stupid card. You drop a pick your combo and then drop an Ink Geyser, and your opponent's just squirming for the rest of the game. Like it's so
Yeah,
gross.
they're slowly trying to power back, and especially like we've talked about, like the only counter to Ink Geyser is to just ramp right back into it,
Yep,
right? Like that's
yep,
it.
yep,
If you can do that, then you can kind of neutralize it and just get back to your normal game plan because normally they're gonna maybe throw a bunch of those ramp cards into your hand when you get hit with it. So when you're playing that blue green list, right? If you're running blue steel, if you're running blue green, if you're running a mirror, or if you're running any iteration of blue, just ramp like crazy.
yep,
And then once they hit you with the ink geyser, just be ready to re-ramp right back
yep.
into it. So
So I played Blurple for the event.
mhm.
I took the exact list I posted in the deck list the other day.
You did not. That's
I
wild.
took that list and then just I took out the Casas for 2 Tigers and then that was it.
What an absolute legend. That's
That's the only
crazy.
difference, yeah. I
That's
didn't even think
awesome.
about it. But I sit down for my first match playing I played 3 blue-green players on the day. Played a
Dang.
lot of control mirrors. I played 3 blue-greens, a blurple, a yellow purple, and I played against Connor's Steel Song, and then I technically played against Eckroth twice. The first time we ID'd and the second time we chopped. So
Dang. That's wild.
yeah,
I mean, to know that Blurple's putting in that work. And did I hear you say you pulled out the Casas? Is that what
I
I heard
did.
you
Yeah,
say?
I took Casa out for Tigger because I expected
Yeah.
people to be on the like the toys decks,
Yeah.
and then I might have resolved Tigger one time,
Yeah.
and then
Because yeah, if you
he
have a bunch of control lists, you're not going to resolve
his yeah
Tigger.
his strength was the about the only thing that mattered throughout
Yeah.
the whole day. So I kind of at some points I kind of wish it still was Casa, but it did get me out of a couple spots, so
hmm
it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tigger, he's such a great tempo reducer against those other like those more aggro-y or just decks that are dependent on getting that card down. And I think you see that with the toy list a lot, where they're like dependent on making a woody stick, or they're dependent on making that port what is it? Port what's his name?
Ham.
Making ham stick or woody stick. And you're like, all right, well, you drop that Tigger, you're like, it doesn't matter now. That goes right back to your hand. So
And it kind of depends on what variant you see too, because I kind of expected the Amber Ruby one to come out in
yeah.
force, but the only deck I played against that had toys in it was Connor's Steel Song, and uh I had Merryweather and Tigger in my hand, games 1 and 3, and I inked the Tigger and played Merryweather both times.
Yeah,
So
as you do, right? Like
yeah, I'm
you're like
just
if they're
I don't
playing
know.
steel, like
Tigger was a really good call if the meta went the way I thought it would, but it didn't. So I do. Um,
it was a
I
great
don't know.
side
The
deck
Casa
character,
was
right?
okay. Would have been okay, but
Yeah.
um, the blue green matchup. We were talking about this kind of before we got on the podcast, but the blue green matchup, you just ramp them. If you
Yeah.
ramp faster than them, it becomes kind of okay. They don't really have a great time to ink geyser in that matchup because you
Mhm.
deal with all of their threats so easily. Like their Clarabelle goes away, and there's like 3 outs. And the highlight of the deck for me
Mhm.
was Mrs. Incredible.
Yeah.
she was very good on the day.
She's pretty cracked. I mean, just that option, that flexibility at the start of your
Yeah.
turn, just knowing what you need to do with her, being able to decide that she's going to be evasive until the start of your next turn. It's just so powerful.
Yeah,
And
it does very well into Clarabelle, right? Like
mhm.
it lives a trade and then you can cat stuff and it becomes pretty good. But yeah, against blue green, I would play as many ramp cards as possible in the early game and then just Demona and that was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
that sounds right to me. But yeah, I think I honestly have been looking across the meta and my analysis, bit of a hot take, but I think Blurple's just kind of it's really well positioned across
Oh
the
yeah.
board. I think it's
Deck is
in one
good.
of the best spots that it's ever been in. I think Merryweather, you called it. Like
Yeah,
it's
card's really
just
good.
such a good card. It comes down on the board, freezes the whole dang board. You know, if they do decide to turn it sideways for whatever reason, that's the only way you're getting it off the board. And so
And you still
otherwise,
have to usually trade two or three things into it, so
yeah,
it's really good.
it's just such a great card. And yeah, I was talking to my wife about like because she walked over to me and she's like, "Well, I haven't played a lot of Blurple, but I played a lot of everything else." And the red blue deck seems to be doing some work. So
Well, that's cool.
I don't know what's going on with that. It's very interesting because it's a lot of like uh I guess Robin Hood spray and pray, I
Yeah,
guess.
it's a little bit of RNG, right? You have to pray
Yeah.
that the Robin Hood A sticks and then B hits good cards.
Yeah, I mean, but you can't deny going turn one, just ink, turn two ramp, turn three Robin Hood, turn four exert Robin Hood, play an action, play two more actions, play a Lilo, ready Robin Hood. Like that synergy is pretty insane
Yeah.
because then it's like, all right, well, do you have an answer that's going to be able to get this 1/4 off the board? Um,
Well,
because
I was looking at the list. I haven't seen anybody play it, but I was looking at the list and I thought, wow, there's a lot of ways to trigger this Lilo.
yeah, there's a
Like, there's
lot
a
of ways to
lot.
trigger the
They can come
Lilo.
out of nowhere.
That Firefly Storm is just a Dragonfire for less
Hmm.
during that in that deck. And I think it's got you can sit there and sing Pirate's Life with Robin Hood. You can, I mean, just hitting those actions right out the gate is crazy. It got me thinking that it's kind of poised to try to throw in a couple more cards that have that synergy with the if you put more than two cards into your discard or two or more cards into your discard this turn, get whatever, right? Like it seems like it's poised to like throw some of that stuff in. But then again, it's really hard because there's not a lot you can remove from that list. Like
Yeah.
Maui is critical because you Robin Hood is discard, right? Like you look at top four, you play one and then you discard the rest. And so if you're not careful, you can really quickly deck yourself out with those Robin Hoods. You get two of them on the board going crazy. And I mean, the one thing that's crazy about having two on board, nothing sticks on the
Yeah.
opponent's board.
Oh, for
Like
sure.
it's just gone, right? Immediately. And so, you hit a let it go, or you hit a Dragonfire, or you hit whatever. It just you're just banishing their whole board all the time. But yeah, you can very quickly deck yourself out. But the other thing that's great about Robin Hood is that it just does not feel bad at all because you're questing for two every time you're doing it too.
Yeah.
And then if you can get a couple Mauis down, you're now just you can rapidly gain lore so quickly. Like I watched my wife play last night and she went from I want to say like 8 to 18 in like a
Hmm.
turn because she
Yeah.
had two Mauis down and she was
Yeah,
just yeah,
if you get a shark to stick and then another one comes down and then you start popping off, yeah, I could see it just uh
it snowballs hard. It
gets like
snowballs
a
real hard.
critical mass and then it doesn't matter what your lore is, you win the game.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It just goes nuts. So it was really cool to watch. I think it's got a lot of potential.
Yeah, I'm wondering what people. I'm surprised some of the locals aren't playing it. It seems right up a couple players' alleys
Yeah,
here. So
most namely the one that plays red blue for literally everything.
yeah,
That's fair.
so
But yeah, it's I don't know, it's exciting. I think it's a cool list. I think it the one thing she did say to me though, and this is kind of where I got into my tangent, was that she's like, "Well, I haven't played a lot of Blurple, and she hasn't played a lot of dogs either."
hmm
And so she's like, she specifically highlighted like, "Hey, I need to see if it works against Blurple because when I have played Blurple, it seems like it's a tough matchup."
yeah,
But I don't know how it would fare against dogs. I think grab your sword, grab your bow really beats up on dogs, and anything that's able to remove two willpower or less characters or two strength or less characters, it's Firefly Storm right away. Boom. You don't
Yep.
even have to discard two. You can just get rid of it.
Yeah, I wonder how the matchup would play. You'd have to be, I think you need some reps because if you're not careful, you just might get under the sea combo pretty quick and then you
Yeah.
can't really come back. It doesn't matter if you Firefly Storm. But if you keep the tempo early and Firefly Storm like before they can get the combo off, that's pretty crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, I'd be interested to know how all the actions do against the like the tramp curve.
Yeah. Because I think the name of the game against dogs is always going to be disrupt tempo.
Yeah.
If you can disrupt tempo, if you can disrupt them from doing what they're trying to do, get Willow off the board, get Tramp off the board. If
Yeah,
you
if you
can
could
do
stop the
that,
singing, like if you can stop the counting to eight with the cost on your board, then yeah,
yeah.
you probably have a really good shot as the red purple deck or the red blue deck because after that you're never afraid again. Like if
No.
your Robin Hood lives, you just wipe everything out.
There's been more than one time that I was playing with dogs, and I mean I've put in tons of reps with dogs, and there's been more than one time where as you're playing it, if they just get rid of your tramp, you're just kind of sunk because
Yeah.
you don't have a follow-up to that, right? You're
No.
usually picking one line or the other. You're usually picking
Yeah.
the tramp line or you're picking the Mickey line or you're picking the lady line. And if you pick the tramp line and they just take him out that turn, even if you play a follow-up tramp, it's almost too late, right?
Right.
Because then they
Oh,
just
it
have the
can
ability
be.
to keep
Yeah.
going.
Yeah, it's just it becomes a lot more interesting. And I think the early game on Tramp decks is becoming a little bit more up in the air. There's like a lot of more options they're running. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the problem with the dog deck is it's just too malleable. You can put
You can just
so many
swap stuff
options
in.
in there. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know why they had to have an option for every stage of the game, but they have one. So
It's absolutely wild.
yeah, deck's too good.
I don't know. Whenever I played the toy iteration of Emerald Amber, that feels pretty good because it's able to kind of get quite a few characters out to be able to sing um, uh, under the sea.
Hmm.
But then also what I saw last night, which was wild, was somebody was playing that toy iteration and they were just kind of slowly ramping up to get to Raging Storm as well.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
another thing that kind of shocked me because yeah, like my brain just does not think of Raging Storm in those color combinations at
Yeah, I
all.
think I think that deck's gonna be uh, a popular post rotation, but you just cannot understate how good Tramp 7 is for this meta. So
Right. Yeah. Tramp
I
7
think
is
it's
just
just
insane.
a little too good. But I think we're gonna see that exact deck, like the toys version of Amber Emerald, just pop off post rotation. I think the toys are poised.
Oh yeah, I think so too. I think the toys are right there. Like
Yeah.
they're definitely not tier one in my opinion across the board. All the toys decks I think are
Yeah,
probably tier two.
The Steel Song variant has like the most legs in my opinion, but then you just have a terrible matchup into Blurple, which is not
Horrible.
good. And if
Yeah.
Blurple and the um uh oh, it's on the tip of my tongue, the Blello.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing because they just poop out a Merryweather into Scuttle curve
Yeah.
and you don't win the game anymore.
Yeah. Those big old ward characters that just can work your whole board. And I mean, Scuttle's insane right out the gate, being a 5/5 quest for two. And you're
Yeah.
just like, all right, well, what am I supposed to do about that? Because everything I throw at it, I'm gonna have to throw two characters most of the time, and
Hmm.
it's not going to be a very advantageous trade at the end of the day. And everything about Steel Song obviously wants to be able to target characters, and if you can't target them, you've won half the battle at that
Yeah,
point.
you're just gonna have to prey on your chief Pauta guy.
Yeah, right.
Hmm.
Or I mean, I because I played a Steel Song iteration that I've kind of been tooling with, and like I said, I put Pluto in it and I put Dale in it.
Hmm.
Dale ruins people's day
Yeah.
when they're like
When they don't
counting on
expect it,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, when they're counting on the factor that like it's going to take you three characters to get rid of this character, but then you play a Dale and now your two docs take it out. Like
Right.
that's crazy because then you're just like, okay, well these two 1/3s just took out your big old body, and the rest of my
Hmm.
stuff's still alive, right? You were counting on me to use my stitch, you were counting on me to use my aerial, right, or whatever, right? But I didn't have to because I was able to play this Dale and just you know switch up the math a bit. So
Yeah. There's so many decks to play right now. And I'm wondering what if any of if these like 2Ks are anything to show, we're gonna have very diverse set champs, I think.
yeah,
It's just gonna be up in the air. I don't think it seems like not enough people want to play the dogs list. I'm actually surprised. Like Eckroth was the only dogs player in the room. And
it's
then on the last one, Kevin was the only dogs player in the room. So I find it just interesting.
it just feels odd because I think, like I said, when I played dogs early on, it felt like the matchups did not feel good for certain stuff. But in a control room, I think you're just licking your chops with dogs,
Yeah,
right? You're just like,
yeah.
oh, if it's a room full of control players, like I
Well,
want to go crazy with this.
I'm surprised at the bravery some of the players had that were in Lehigh that stuck to blue green, right? Because it's
Right.
like, oh man, I just watched Kevin just tear through everybody, got
Yeah.
into like just had an unfortunate top eight match, or else would have torn through the whole meta again.
Yeah.
So to see it again, I was like, I didn't expect to play against three blue greens as a Blurple player on Saturday. I'll tell you that much. But then I sat down and
Big old
everybody
smiles.
had,
Big old
dude, it was
smiles.
like it is so big. There's so many.
Yeah.
So many blue green players.
Yeah. I don't know.
Uh,
Is it just a funner deck?
yeah, I think that's what it is. This meta, it seems like everybody's playing for fun,
Yeah.
right? Even in competitive events, it's like I'm gonna play the one more fun deck because I don't know, something about no DLC season makes it feel like this is just a set champs meta, and in a set champs meta, I think you just play whatever. You just figure
Yeah.
out, I'm just going to play.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious too. I haven't seen Webby's Diary at all, right?
No.
Like there's been no like Webby's Diary just stopped. And I'm like, that's still a really good draw engine. Like that's still an amazing deck ultimately. Scrooge McTruck still do go burr. So like
Well, yeah, that's the problem was Kaisen showed up to the New Game Plus 1K or the
mhm,
2K, and then he played that deck, the
yeah,
Scrooge McDuck counter, and then just played against blue greens, and you can't. And it's just an unwinnable matchup. It's just you're not you quest for one a turn with the Scrooge, and then blue green just has forever.
yeah.
If they resolve one Clarabelle, it's just like over
Yeah,
because they
you
have
just can't
infinite.
really own the board. Yeah, because then you
Yeah.
have this freaking handful of cards, and then they're like, "Ooh, I
Right,
dropped a
because
Clarabelle.
the
Answer it
coolest thing
now, or
about
you're in
that deck
trouble."
is that how much it draws, right? And then
Yeah,
it's just not fast enough to go under blue greens.
Hmm,
That was
that's
the
fair.
problem with that deck. I think if nobody's playing blue green, that deck has a lot of legs, but then I don't know, the room's like 10 blue green players, and I don't think that changes. Blue green's very accessible to do very well with, right?
Right.
It's very attractive if you're like not super up on the meta. You're like, I just have to resolve combo,
Yeah.
right? You could
Yeah, I
build
guess
your
that's
deck
fair.
like seven different ways. Like every tech option in the deck is fine.
Well, and I mean
There's no
the new
correct
Milo
list, right?
Thatch is pretty crazy too, being
Yeah.
awarded was he 7/7? What is he? He's warded and he's
Yeah.
huge.
He's 5/5.
Oh, he's a 5/5.
Warded 5/5. And
Warded
then
5/5 quest for three or
yeah,
two? Yep, quest for
three.
three. Freaking
Yeah.
just
And draws you
wild.
a card most of the time.
Yeah,
The
and
end of
yeah,
your
if
turn.
two cards enter your discard, he draws a card, and then when you play him, you can discard a card, make your opponent discard a card
No.
too.
It bounces the
Oh yeah, bounce a character back. That's
yeah.
right. You
It's like
discard a card, bounce a character.
it just replaced Basil. It's just a
Yeah,
better Basil in every
yeah,
way.
way better Basil than for sure. But yeah, I think it's that's a really fun deck too. But the question that I was thinking about while you were talking about that is it's just like, okay, well, blue steel definitely has no chance against a green blue or a sapphire emerald. And then obviously Blurple just has better answers, I
The Blurple
think.
matchup I think is favorable to Blurple
Yeah,
personally. I think Damona's just a too good of a card. But uh you have to play it right. If you approach the matchup and you're just like you ramp on uh if you just ramp on two and hope for the best, you probably don't win against Ink Geyser.
yeah,
But if you keep them behind, like they have no good time to Ink Geyser anymore.
yeah,
If you play like into the Demona curve where you go, my curve of the day was like I go no one drop, right? I just
Yeah.
don't play one.
Yeah.
I'll ink it if I have it in my hand.
Yeah.
Ink a one drop. Play Tipo first over Sail, even if I have both in my hand.
Yeah.
You play Tipo first, and then on the next turn you sail into play Cat,
Hmm.
or you sail and play Guidebook.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you match their Cinderella curve, and then you can demona their every option they have. They can't shift the Prince Philip anymore because you demona take it out, and they
Hmm.
can't shift the Clarabelle because it's the same thing. Even if they play the Clarabelle, you have shift or the demona is like pretty good into it.
Oh, you're talking about the
Really
small
good.
Demona, not the big
No, no,
Demona.
yeah, I'm talking about big demona because
Oh, you're talking.
you'll have it at the turn after because you'll go to 5 ink on three.
Oh yeah, because isn't Prince Philip evasive though? Question mark.
No,
No.
he's just warded 3/2.
Oh,
I'm
you're talking
talking
about
about little
little
one,
Prince
yeah,
Philip.
because
Okay,
they
I
can't
thought.
shift at that point.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
They don't have
okay.
enough ink to shift.
Yep,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay.
So if you resolve Demona, the game's just kind of over because
Yeah, because
they
because
have
then
no
they're
board to
trying to
sing
keep
with.
that. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
I get where you're talking. Yeah, because then they can't get their combo
And then
off.
your board just becomes huge at that point because
Yeah,
they take it takes like 3 turns for them to set up, and then they like start prioritizing like playing a Clarabelle to come back in the game. And if you Hades that, it's just like now you have another two quester on the board, right? And
yeah,
then they have to play another threat, and if you Hades that, then you have I don't know the lore you get to like 16 before they resolve an Ink Geyser, and then you can just close it out.
yeah. That's fair. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a great deck, right? Like I think Blurple's got a great deck, but yeah, Groot Emerald Sapphire is really perplexing. It's I guess the
Yeah,
local meta's
no
on it.
matchup is
So
free. I'll tell you that
yeah,
much. Like, shout out to Hector. Always performing that deck. Had to play him in top four, but he
yep,
always finds a way. Like every
yep.
time I see him, he miss ramp, still wins the game. He like if
Just a legend.
if you have blue green cards in your deck, you can always win. So
Yep,
it's very attractive in that way, I think,
that makes
especially
sense.
for set champs.
Interesting. So if you're so like as a player right now, we're kind of going into this meta and it's wide open.
Hmm.
So you obviously talked about how you threw some cards in there in anticipation for certain decks. And obviously a sideboard card becomes something that's inkable, right? And like
Yep.
and so maybe maybe the strategy here is to say, all right, I'm gonna go with a skeleton, take a skeleton, and then use your brain to decide what the meta could look like. I think if the last few weeks have told us anything, you may expect to see some control lists.
Hmm.
So how do you take like a Steel Song list and you make it more focused against a control list? Like what do you think you could do with the Steel Song list to counter a control list?
Uh, so if we take the one from last week, for example, Connor did this very well at the most recent 2K. He opted to play less toys.
Yep,
And like I was saying last week, if you keep the Lilo in there,
yep,
against most control decks, Lilo's just a better answer. Like
right,
most of the time in that deck, if I have a choice between playing something out of my hand and playing a Lilo, I'll just take the Lilo,
right.
right? Because like keeping hand advantage is very important. There's a
Mhm.
lot of different reasons. I think Lilo very much helps. The Chief Pauta card,
Yeah,
it was very well into
Powhatan.
Blurple. Yeah, if you can get that out, Blurple can struggle a little bit.
Yep.
Like it can't challenge the Merryweather, but you can still try to go under with like uh Woody shift line is pretty good still. And then if you can drop a Lilo and play a Chief, like now you're looking at some lore that sticks on the board until the eventual into the unknown. And then you can kind of get over it. But if you can get under blue green pretty easily with that curve, right? If
Hmm.
you go one drop Woody and then
Then
Lilo
shift him.
or pick your two drop, you can even play Rex,
Hmm.
right? And then shift Woody, start popping off drawing cards every turn.
Yeah.
I think you can get under blue green quite easily with that.
Woody's pretty crazy because he just like you have to switch shift him, in my opinion. I feel
Hmm.
like if you can't get Woody out as a shift, it's really tough because there's just too many answers that can deal with him as a 1/5. Especially in like Ruby, obviously, we know Ruby can just take him out. But even like Angel plus he hurled his thunderbolts. You can get some pretty nifty ways to get rid of five and to be able to
Yeah.
quest immediately, get that two lore, get the card, and then potentially play another character, that level of pressure cannot be understated. And I mean, if
Right.
it's something
And
like you
then
play a Rex, like that's crazy.
and if you get like Jesse out and you start resolving that, then
Yeah.
you can do so much because the Jesse effect actually matters. Like if you're playing against a Blurple that missed Merryweather, for example, right?
Hmm.
Then your Jesse can just start targeting things in -2 until your next turn. Like
Yep.
you have no strength to challenge anything anymore. Like your Basil can't support, your Elsa's just to attack. Like I don't know,
Yep.
it gets a little wild. So Merryweather is definitely a key linchpin, right, in the matchup. If you with the Merryweather, it's probably lights out.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, is there a follow-up to Merryweather with the Scuttle? If you, or are you not playing the Scuttle in the list at all, huh?
I didn't like Scuttle.
Yeah,
I opted for the Mrs. Incredible, and I think I'd still make that decision.
I
I
agree.
I
I think
think
that's a
Mrs.
better,
Incredible
more
has better options into more decks than Scuttle does.
agreed.
And Merryweather's just fine in the matchup, right? It's
Yeah,
like not like you want a backup for the matchup you already win. So
yeah.
I think Scuttle's okay. I don't think it's amazing. I think when you're playing Scuttle, you don't do better into the mirror if they're running Mrs. Incredible, right? Because Mrs. Incredible deals with Scuttle just too easily.
Hmm.
It's
How did you
evasive.
like Dumbo? How did Dumbo feel? Obviously, it synergizes really well with Mrs. Incredible,
Yeah, it's
but
perfect.
like,
It's a great card.
okay, so you love Dumbo in
Yeah.
that slot, and so
Hmm.
having the 8 4 drops felt good to you.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that's good
Um,
to know.
Cat's fine on 4, right? You
Yeah,
can just play Cat. You
yeah,
can I don't think I whiffed a 4 drop because I was playing the Tigers. So if you can just play the Tigger town, that's a 4 drop. So
yeah. That's right.
I was playing 10. Yeah.
You were playing 10. That's right. Yeah.
Um, what was I gonna say? I just lost my train of thought. Hey, there we go.
No, that's rough. That's rough. Sorry
Oh,
about
it'll come
that.
back to me.
Yeah, I think it's so if you're in the Steel Song list, you can tool it up to be a little bit more competitive, but you're still banking on them missing quite a bit
A
in
little bit,
that
yeah. If you
control
if you're
matchup.
expecting Blurple, for example, I probably would rather play the other list, right? You
Yeah,
probably play the Amber Ruby because then you have like crazy options.
right,
Um, it's a little bit faster and draws more cards, right? But it doesn't control as well as the Steel Song variant. So if you're expecting Blurple and you want to play toys, there's another deck for you.
right. Makes sense.
Hmm.
Okay. So yeah, there's stuff to kind of tool around with, I think. And yeah, I'm just curious too, like where do you see weaknesses for dogs, like outside of just not hitting their amazing line?
I don't know. I feel like dogs is favored into everything but dogs, right? It has the best win rates online. It can win like blue green. It can just win from any spot, right?
Yep.
And that's just kind of the thing. Even if you crawl your way back, they can still have this turn where they drop Daisy, Daisy, Daisy. Like it's like, oh man, it's just tough.
That's surprising because yeah, like looking at it, I guess this is just going off raw percentages, but it looks like I think the one matchup that could give dogs some fits, what could be the Amber Amethyst as well, right?
The
Because
Dale.
yeah, the Dale Amber Amethyst can be pretty interesting, I
Hmm.
think, potentially. And then it also looks like it has a hard matchup against Old Reliable, but then again, Old Reliable has a hard matchup against
Into
the
everything
rest of the
else,
field.
yeah.
So
Yeah, if you're that's the thing about dogs, right? Is if you're playing a pure dogs counter, then you just kind of get trounced by the
you just
rest of the
get,
field,
yeah, beat up by
which
the
is
rest of the
really
field.
unfortunate. Yeah. The that new Mickey Mouse that came out that just enters play exerted and
And
starts
then,
subtracting strength.
yeah,
It made the under the sea combo just way too consistent to pull off.
yeah.
Um, and that just hurts.
Yeah, being able to reduce multiple characters' strength by 2 every time you quest. And I mean, with dogs, we already know you have tons of characters on the board every time. So
Of the
you're
like
able to go
super
crazy.
meta decks, I think the two that have the best matchup into dogs right now is that Blue Steel Allies deck is still kicking around.
Oh
You
yeah.
do you
Oh
do
yeah.
some things, especially with the introduction of Merida. There's like some variants out there, and then just Blurple, right? If you can just hit the Merryweather and get a Demona off, the game kind of flips in your favor pretty quick.
Mhm,
But you're very, very unfavored going second as the Blurple player.
mhm. Interesting. Yeah, I think it's a very fun meta right now. I think the other thing that's really kind of funny is like the unsung hero of the Amethyst Emerald lists that have kind of been like evasive Snow Fort
Yeah.
stuff. I think Snow Fort had its day, and I think it was when people finally realized that you just don't challenge when Snow Fort hits the field.
Right. Yeah.
And
You
you're just
just
like, okay, well,
okay.
I never challenge now. I just
Well, I'll
quest.
I'll apply pressure and then you have to do stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely very rewarding to be able to say, all right, yeah, for sure, you got some extra strength, but you're now still trading with me. So
Yeah.
it's a tough
Uh,
spot.
a little unfortunate thing about this meta too is like any of these off kind of kilter decks just struggle into what I have noticed is the most popular deck, blue green, right?
Yeah,
You just kind of get punished by the ink guy, not only ink geyser, but just Prince Philip in general just can wreck your day.
yeah. It's a mean deck. It is definitely one of those things where when I was playing it, it feels very fun and I guess mean. I guess that's the best way to describe it, right? So
Hey, I just remembered what I was going to talk about with
let's
Blurple.
go. Let's go.
It only runs four uninkables.
Oh yeah,
Four.
yeah.
Four.
That's insane. Blurple only running four uninkables is just, I mean,
It,
you can't ask for more consistency.
I even if you draw Hades, you're like, oh, this will come in handy later. And it did every time I did. I had
Yeah.
like two Hades in my hand. I was like, usually this would be
Okay.
clogged because you draw a genie and be scared. But now you're like, my next
Okay.
card will be ink.
Yeah. I
And
don't
then I'll
really
play the
care.
genie or I'll
Yeah.
play the Hades and it'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is fine. There's no issues here. Yeah.
You cannot clog that deck anymore, which is fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I think Blurple is one of those lists in this meta for sure that I do believe that it has a lot of chance. And the one thing I will say is that even though Dogs has become quite the terror, that Merriweather on three really starts to block you down as a dogs player.
Hmm.
I still have to just trust that like if I'm playing a Blurple list, I'm just gonna trust in the heart of the cards to give me a Merriweather at the time I need it
Yeah.
and just hope for that,
If
right?
you can get Merryweather into like Elsa into Demona, like you're chilling. But it's still kind of hard when they just go, tramp quest out minus a couple things under to see the rest of your board, and then you just have a Merryweather. It can be a little bit,
Yeah.
you know.
We kind of a claw back at that point, but
Yeah, you kind of have to hope for the best in a lot of the times.
yep. I've definitely noticed in dogs, if the tramp gets dealt with super early on, you're in trouble right away.
Yeah.
So
Well, but I will say, I don't think people are going to be super sweaty at these um set champs. Like I understand what people sweat pretty hard at the 2Ks, right? But at
yeah.
these set champs, I think you can play whatever your heart tells you, and I think you're gonna have a good time.
Yeah, I mean I think it's definitely the right meta to enjoy
This
yourself. I
is
think
the meta to pick whatever is in your brain and play.
yeah.
If you
Go
have
play your
some
seven dwarf
idea,
stack. Yeah.
cook it up, play it because there's no better time.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to cook up a location deck. I haven't built one yet, but a ruby steel location deck I feel like is poised for joy at
Oh
this
yeah,
in this current meta because you just have so many cool like locations that you can interact with this set and just different fun things that you can do with the locations from the set. So I think it's totally worth it. And before you lose cards like the Minnie Mouse that lets you pull back locations and the islands pulled from the sea and stuff like that. Like this is
yeah.
a really good opportunity to try to make something like that work, right?
Absolutely. So I think if you're looking for some advice into set champs, draw out some toys decks. They're pretty fun. Play blue green, play literally anything that catches your eye. This is the time to play it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Though I want to shift gears a little bit, and I've been kind of like curiously watching prices over the
Hmm.
last few weeks, and I'm so far just so happy with the Wilds Unknown single prices at
Oh
this
yeah.
point in my life. And I just gotta say, like the inner like excitement for the game to grow in this light it has me hoping for the future. It has me hoping for similar drop rates in the future. It has me hoping for similar like singles rates because
Yeah,
it,
absolutely. I'll go back to, previous sets, especially sets that I had to buy like multiple decks worth of cards.
right,
For the last couple, I've had a big event, like I had to go to Ghent, right? So I had to buy a bunch of cards for that.
right.
That set probably cost me like 400, $500 just in cards alone.
Hmm.
I bought the cards I wanted from this set. It was a $60 order.
Yeah.
It's like that's hundreds of dollars saved.
And that was probably at their high marks too,
Yeah.
right? Like,
So I'm already like, I hope this is the standard going forward for sure. Like,
yeah,
I want the enchanteds to be high,
right.
epics to be like,
Iconics to be high.
I want epics, iconics, and enchanteds to be a little bit more expensive, and
Yeah,
then all of the legendaries to be dirt cheap. Like, that's what I want as a player.
yeah,
Like, I want hits to be good, and
yeah.
then like a legendary is not a hit to me. That's just a personally. A
No,
foil should be expensive too, though.
it definitely felt like a hit in previous sets. And then, but then, you kind of see now where it's almost like the Pokemon mentality, right? Like
Yeah.
we're getting to this like Pokemon mentality where, yeah, Dale as a just regular card is like $12.
Yep.
That's great. Like I
Perfect.
perfect dollar amount. Like you buy a pack, you get a $12 card, you spent
Hmm.
$6 on the pack. You're excited because you're like, well, that was good, paid for the pack and then some. But
And
then
then
also you could
like
go buy the
the
single.
Yep, and the legendary that you kind of want to is the Set Champs promo. So you've got
Yeah.
like this incentive to buy it early because it's not going to be very much money.
Hmm.
Like you can buy Woodies right now and not feel like you wasted money and still go play your Woody deck at the Set Champs you're going to win the promo at. Like you don't have to wait, right?
Yeah.
Because they're so cheap,
Right.
which I think is a great, great thing. Like people are going to be incentivized to go to the Set Champs because they want to get their Woody. I think it's just such a good like uh systematic change, and I
Hmm.
really, really want it to continue.
Well, and I think the funny thing too is that like all sets seem to have kind of a slight cost reduction. I mean, I haven't looked at Fabled recently. Dumbo's still up there,
Yeah.
but I mean, I'm actually shocked about that. I thought Dumbo was going to fall off pretty hard, but turns out drawing cards is good. So
Yeah.
yeah, like that's
Yep.
not super surprising. But yeah, I think a couple of these different sets, your Demonas, I guess, have kind of skyrocketed. What the heck happened there? But yeah, like even just Winter Spell, right? Angel dropped down to like $20. Like that feels good.
Yep.
I think, but that's the thing is these previous sets, I don't think they can drop as low as Wilds Unknown because the pull rates were just so low in
Yeah, and it's
comparison.
and it's harder to get them now, especially Fabled, right?
Yeah.
But I think it creates a really good gameplay loop in the current like Wilds Unknown.
Yeah.
So I hope it continues for
It
sure.
definitely felt even better. And I was talking to my buddy about this. He rips Pokemon mostly, but I was explaining to him, I'm like, when they increase the pull rates, like my initial thought process before, if you would have told me they were going to increase pull rates, I would have been like, well, I don't want that because then like the hits aren't going to feel like hits. It didn't, it actually made it feel great.
It
Like,
makes it feel better, right?
yeah,
Because then you're
I
like,
was like,
oh, I opened, oh, crazy. Yeah.
yeah, you want to open a pack. You want to open
Yep.
two packs, right? We talked about this when it first happened. And so the only question I have is like, do we see these pull rates now going forward?
Hmm.
Or is this going to be kind of a Inkland situation where we all of a sudden get a set that's going to be no pull rates?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have
Like,
to see, but I really hope it increases. Not
yeah,
only continues, but increases.
that'd be cool.
Like
Yeah,
I think you should have like 10 legendaries in a box personally.
that would be pretty dope.
I did want to say this meta, this set, like this rotation kind of just feels like a breath of fresh air, right? Like
Yeah.
prices are low. There's not a bunch of like competitive incentive, right? I
Hmm.
get to kind of chill out. There's no event I have to prepare for. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same way, right? Like
Yeah.
feels a little bit more chill, a little bit more lax right now. I've noticed it in players too. And I think that's cool. I think it's a set that you can like just have your fun in.
Yeah, thinking back, it's like I think the last year has been really like hard hitting because it went
Yeah.
Fabled and everyone was just scrambling, right? We're going crazy with Fabled. We're doing CCQs. We're flying to Denver. We're flying to um Milwaukee, and then after Fabled, you're like, all right, cool, on to, you know, the what is it, Whispers in the Well,
Hmm.
and then you're, right back into Richmond,
Yep.
then and
CCQs,
CCQs,
Richmond.
Richmond, you're
Yeah.
all over the place with all these crazy things, and then you jump into Winterspell, and you're at Ghent,
Yep.
and you're, like, I think it was just really kind of like boom, 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 boom. And I know we kind of talked about like how we want more DLCs, but it's almost like that moment where you're like, yeah, if there was a DLC, I'd be excited to go play at it. But also, this feels really good as like hey, I'm just having fun with the game instead of
Yeah,
feeling
just
like, you know,
just a sigh of relief a little bit. And that's
yeah,
okay. You can have one set that's just a sigh of relief, right? And
right.
one thing we didn't really touch on too, but another thing that's impacting like the meta for set champs and core is the
Mhm.
next DLC is Infinity.
Right.
So those that like really are gearing up for the next DLC are playing Infinity. So the decks that they bring to set champs might not necessarily be the best, more, like they're thought out. Like I'm trying to win a set champs mat, right?
Right.
They're just kind of picking up whatever because they're preparing for Infinity, and that's super valid too. And even better that it's like a breath of fresh air meta for them too because they don't have to think as hard to have fun.
It is really interesting too to see, like, if you go on Inkdex, there is a lot of Infinity tournaments. Like
Yes.
everywhere you turn around,
Yep.
there is a new Infinity tournament, and that's exciting for people to kind of get their feet wet with this and really try to like dive into this Infinity meta. And I think we've talked about it before. I personally am not a fan of the Infinity meta, and it looks like what it's turned into is just a churn a dog like slugfest is what
Yeah.
it really is. Like I was over here worried about the friggin' control decks and the blue steel, and I thought that that was just going to be absolutely crazy. But obviously, banning Hiram has done more than just that, and also I think just the introduction of like Grandmother Willow and things like that, right, really just
Yeah.
makes Churn a Dog so much better.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like Green Steel's a heavy hitter now. You got Steel Song and then you got Churna Dogs just tearing it up.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's we talked about this a couple of times. It feels like it's at least nostalgia bait. So, but it's optional nostalgia bait, right? So it's
Yeah,
actually like the best kind of nostalgia bait,
that's
right?
right. Yeah.
It's like if you go to a movie and like every single line in the movie is like, "Hey, remember this? Remember this thing?" And you're like, "Yeah, okay, the first 15 times I was all right with it, but now we're getting a little overzealous." But it's like, "Hey, if you're into those member berry things, man, just go play some
Oh,
Infinity. I think you're gonna
for
love it."
sure, for sure. And I will say we might even be like behind the rest of the country in the amount of like Infinity tournaments we have, right? I don't
Yeah.
think our players really want them to happen,
Yeah.
but like other more competitively diverse, uh, like local shops that want to just help the boys prepare for Infinity, right?
Yeah.
They'll run like an Infinity tournament. We don't really have see that out here. Most people want to play core or just their set champs want to be core. So
hmm Yeah, and I mean that's just how it goes, right? I think for me it's a simplicity situation. I
yeah.
think Infinity draws too many variables, like it's just so much to think of, and
Well,
you're
it's a lot to ask of your like customers too, right?
yeah,
You would have to give fair notice that you're going to run an Infinity event. If most of your player base are expecting a core event and then have to switch to Infinity like late notice,
yeah,
they'll just rather not play.
yeah,
Whereas like for set champs, for example, I'm pretty sure every single one of them will be core.
yeah,
But for like a 2K, you might be able to get away with like, hey, we're going to do like a win in enchanted or win in enchanted is infinity, but you have 2 months to prepare. I don't know, but it's getting down to the wire too because uh, Indy's only next month.
yeah. Well, the one thing I'm looking at this green steel list, and this is terrifying. This
Yeah,
green
it's
steel list makes me want to cry and like
they're
crawl into a
nasty,
corner
man.
somewhere. This is wild. Like just all these different songs. You still have Ursula Deceiver of All to double sing a bunch of them. You got the muses that just lets you keep bouncing characters back when you sing a song. Like this is just such a crazy list. It throws
Yeah,
Lenny in there. You got all these different Diablos. You got a shift target of a 1/3
but
Diablo.
it allows um old reliable to come back into the meta too. Came
Yeah.
screaming back just because, you know, it's good against the green steel. It's good against Churna dogs too.
Yeah, it just kind of keeps on drawing enough cards to keep itself, from getting discarded too bad.
Yep.
So that's exciting. Yeah, I think I don't know. Infinity's I'm still just on the edge of it. It's definitely not as like poor pity me, blue steel and red blue destroying the meta that I thought it was going to be, and I think
Hmm.
that's definitely in large part due to the ban on Hiram for sure.
For
I think
sure.
that opened it
Yeah.
up quite a bit.
All these
I
decks exist in the format because that happened.
Right. I think without it, you definitely don't have this. And I actually thought that the response to that was just going to be Steel Song everywhere. I thought we were going to see Wheel all day, a whole new
Yeah,
world.
discard options are so good in the Steel Song sometimes though. Like,
Yeah,
oh man.
can really just
You
limit
can
your
your whole
ability.
deck can just be rendered useless by one card that says hypnotize on it.
Yep. So I think there's a lot of stuff that is really exciting with the Infinity format, and I have to give credit where credit's due. I didn't think the Hiram ban was going to open up the meta. I thought it was actually going to close it,
Hmm.
and it seems like it's had the opposite effect. So good on them. I think they did a great job, it seems, and
Yeah,
it'll
I
be
hope
exciting to
the
watch Indy. So
I do hope the DLC goes well. I hope it's not just like uh
Churna dogs.
one-sided,
Yeah.
right? Because if they I don't know. A lot of people online have been talking like if you ban one card, you should be prepared to ban like five or six, right? You can't just ban one card.
That's an interesting discussion. I think banning
Yeah.
is one of those scenarios where I don't know, man. I'm always in this like attitude where I just hate the idea of it because
Hmm.
it feels like a cop out. It feels like I can't get good, so I need you to get rid of this thing that's in my way. And
Yeah. There's a
it's
little bit
tough.
of that, but I don't know. The people that play these events will know more than us, so that's why I'm
True.
waiting for the. I want the feedback of people that actually play in the DLC rather than just play online, you know.
Yeah.
Because they're already screaming for tramp bans, but you can't ban anything in core because there's nothing to play for. And then I don't think like tramps broken in Infinity, but I don't know because I don't play the format, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. It'd be interesting. Well, I mean, it's not bans and it's not infinity, but I kind of wanted to touch on this because there's been some things that I've, heard back and forth throughout the world, and we've also seen some examples of cheating. And I know that that's something that it's tough. It's very taboo when we talk about it. Like nobody wants to really point it out, but it does happen, and we know it
Hmm.
happens. And the one thing I want to do for the audience on this podcast is just prepare them a little bit for things that could happen to you. We had a big discussion about this right before DLC Milwaukee, if I recall correctly, because there was some cheating fiascos that we saw here and there. And then since then, I mean, we've had cheating on stream, we've had
Hmm.
cheating, potentially unintentional cheating with double inking. We've had a new rule that's been instituted due to that stream situation.
Hmm.
And there's also been instances locally where we've heard of things happening where potentially players have done uh, things that are definitely considered cheating, and it's hard to be hard nosed on them. And obviously, I'm not gonna. This is not the rumor mill. This is more of
Right.
just, hey, it's out there, guys. Let's think about it. And so, Sam, when you're playing and you're protecting yourself against cheating, what kind of things are you doing to protect yourself against cheating?
Um, I ask a lot of questions personally.
Yeah,
I would really take a second if somebody's like going fast and it's obviously a little suspect. I'll
yeah,
be like, "Hey, what did you just do and why and how?"
yeah,
Even if it makes them have to retrace and they get frustrated in explaining to you what happened,
yep,
that is a good way to reset the pace, right?
right,
Is like I didn't understand what you just did. Can you go back and tell me what you did, right?
right,
Like I understand they were all legal moves. I don't want to call a judge, but I do what how did we get here is
right.
a question I'll utilize a lot. Other times like if it depends on what kinds of cheating are
True.
Uh,
So maybe we should break down like what kind of
yeah,
cheating you could potentially run into first, and then we could say
right.
like how do you protect yourself against that?
Sure. Like if you're before this rule change, I'd say like double linking is tough when you're in like a control matchup where
Right.
it's a blue deck and they kind of just have a million ink in general.
Yeah.
Like if you're playing against like Steel Song or Dogs, you're like, I know what ink they have forever, right?
Yeah.
That's not an easy thing to keep track of. But when like 4 or 5 ink is very different than 9 or 10, right?
Right.
Like if you're at 11 and
What
then suddenly you're
12
at
doesn't change a ton.
13, like I don't know, maybe you just played a TPO. I could have forgot. But
Yeah.
being diligent about cards in hand, being diligent about ink is the safest way to kind of protect yourself, right?
Mhm.
Especially with cards in hand.
So
Like if
maybe
there's a card that appeared from somewhere, ask them how it got there.
so does it feel like maybe Clarabelle's like a built-in anti-cheat because you're just like I always want to
Yeah.
know how many cards you have in hand
Yeah,
anyways.
yeah, and then you get a little cop out too because you can be like, "Hey, what cards in hand?" And they're
Cards
not
in hand?
like
They're
if
not like,
you
why are you
because
asking?
some
Yeah.
people get really frustrated when you ask them cards in hand every
Yeah.
couple minutes, but it's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
I'll ask you every turn if it is for my benefit. Like I don't care.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
what I've noticed is if I notice somebody asking me how many cards I have in hand, as I end my turn, I'll start telling them how many cards I have in hand.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
out of like it's like this weird, I don't know, like it's like a symbiotic like bond
Mhm.
between the two of you where
Well,
you're like,
that's
"Oh, I know they want this information, so I'm just going to
right.
offer it up
Well,
right away."
that's the like the perfect thing too, because then, um, and maybe this is dangerous too, because like if you answer and ask questions like that, like periodically throughout the game, you
Yeah.
kind of just understand your opponent's not going to cheat you.
Right.
Like you come to this understanding where you're both asking the right questions, and then the game just kind of like it flows from there.
Yeah.
But that's like the perfect time where a cheating could occur when you're both just like super comfortable.
So how can somebody cheat, say, hand size? Like, what do you think? Because we've talked about scenarios where, like, what are you going to try to do? I think you're probably going to try to pull from your ink, right?
hmm
That would be
So
a
the
method.
easiest cheat to get away with is to keep all the numbers the same. So
Mhm.
if you palm a card, lap a card, or if you're there's a lot of ink sleight of hand, right? If you
Right.
inked a card, you know where it's at on the stack, and then
Hmm.
you shift that card and put your hand there instead.
Right.
Um, it's really hard to catch because none of it's public information. You would
Yep.
never know. So if you see some sort of crazy ink shenanigans,
Hmm.
calling a judge is your best bet because they're the only ones that can really get in the.
They
You
can
can't just start.
investigate through, try to figure out
Yeah,
what's
you
going on
can't
there.
just start like berating your opponent if you think that they, swapped an ink, but because it's
Right.
very, very hard to prove. So
Definitely.
that's one of those things where locally, if you see it happen, like there's not a ton you can do if the judge is not present. You can be like, "Hey, did you do this?" Is the only question you can really ask,
Right. And
which
I
sucks.
think I think that's the scenario where likely you're going to be like, "Oh, I inked a Maui half shark."
Yeah.
And then you put it down and you're like, all right, I know that ink on the far right is Maui half shark or whatever. And then you
hmm
slowly move it around or like we saw the infamous cheat where dude slid one of his ink up into his hand after he was gonna get was it under the seed or something? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Something happened.
Yep.
And yeah, I think he got under the seed and he slid his
And he
one of
took
his
his
ink up into his
yeah.
hand. And
Yep.
yep, that was
So
the
that
scenario.
sheet could be countered by hand size, right? If
Yep.
you guys how many cards in hand it had, but if he had replaced the ink with another card in his hand,
Mhm.
that's really hard, right? Because then you're
That's
like,
crazy. That's a
yeah, that one's
whole
that one's just hard to catch unless it happens on stream, right? So
right.
that
That's
one you kind of just have to uh, be as diligent as possible. I don't know. It's kind of hard if you're doing your own thing to watch your opponent's every single move, but luckily we haven't had too many instances of that happening either even locally
yeah.
or I haven't even seen that in an event. So
I think you just have to adopt the Ed Chu mindset, right? Like you
just
have to
watch,
put
stare
your
down your
hand
opponent.
down, put your hand down and just watch your opponent, right? Don't
hmm
don't try to catalog your move, right? I understand you want to move quick. I understand you want to get to the next thing, but you kind of can't really make your decision until you draw that card for turn anyways, right? Because you never know. There's been so many scenarios where my brain gets dead set on do a thing and then I draw a card that's a way better move. And
hmm
and so even though like I'm dead set on this thing. I now have to recalibrate everything that I was just thinking and go
Yeah.
forward with it if I'm smart enough. Otherwise, I just go real fast, boom, boom, boom. Oh, actually, that was dumb. And then, you kind of you miss that play that you had there. So I think it's just, maybe take on that Ed Shoe mentality, give your opponent the stare down a little bit. Not intimidation factor,
No,
but
but
just watch what they're doing. You should be able to
yep.
tell very quickly as they're
But
they're making that step. So
yep, I'll just reiterate, asking questions is the best thing you can do.
yeah.
They don't have to be instigating questions,
Yep.
right? You don't have to be like, why'd you just do that? Like you don't have to ask it in a way that makes it sound like you were
Yeah, no
accusing them.
insinuation, right?
Yeah, like no accusatory questions, but you can ask, simple questions like how many cards in hand? Can I check your discard? How many ink do you have?
Yep,
Stuff like that.
makes sense. Yeah, and I think what are the some of the other cheats we saw? We saw the double ink, but hey, double ink can't happen really unless
No,
we,
yeah.
we have
Uh,
a ink
Now
geyser
you just have
situation or
to
whatever.
just kind of let your opponent know, hey, your inks go face up.
And it
Oh,
stays face up. It
yeah.
stays face up the whole time. Because I got into the habit of I would put it face up, and then immediately when I used it, I would
Yeah.
then put it back over. And
Hmm.
so I'm gonna have to break that habit and just leave it face up. The bigger problem for me is gonna be passing turn and then remembering it to flip it over again.
I'm bad
That's
at
gonna
this.
be
I
so hard.
I flip my ink over at the start of my turn. Like when they
Ah,
end their turn, I'll usually flip it back.
okay.
And I noticed myself doing that at this tournament, and it's something I'm working on. At the end
Yep.
of my turn, flip my ink.
Yep. That's gonna be tough. I think it's one of those where it's going to take a lot of muscle memory to get there. But if we're doing it together, I think it really
Yeah,
helps, right? And I think if we
like
all like, hey, don't forget to flip your ink over, right? Like,
right, yeah. Well, I noticed it a couple times too because I do it, like my
yeah,
opponents sometimes do it, and I noticed like there was a couple times in the tournament where they started their turn with an ink face up and then inked another card, and they were like, "Oh, wait, did I not ink this turn? Or did I
hmm
already ink this turn?" I was like, "No, you inked that last turn." I was like, "Oh," and they're like, "Oh, thank goodness."
yeah,
But some of those are pretty easy to rectify too because it usually happens pretty early. They're
yeah,
like, "I inked this," and then well, it's not like you can stay at two ink when you're supposed to go to three. Like I just ramped on my before, so you should definitely be at three.
right.
Those are easy to
Yep. And
backtrack.
then I think the final one, or maybe there's probably potentially more, but I think another one that's very relevant is stacking your deck.
Yeah.
Most notably, caught by the one specie who, he just trusted his opponent, tapped his deck, said go for it instead of
Hmm.
cutting it instead of shuffling it. I mean, when you're at a set champs, when you're local, maybe cutting is fine. But if you go to a tournament and you want to perform and you're concerned about your performance, I think it's good practice for you to say, I'm going to shuffle my opponent's deck. Actually do a shuffle. Don't don't take it and cut
Yeah.
it. You can stack your deck so that the cut puts it on top if they notice your habits, but you can't stack a deck if you shuffle it. It's just not possible.
I have developed my own little uh, cut style, and
Yeah,
people are shout out to Haley Sorensen. She was laughing at me like all day on
let's
Saturday because
go.
every time I cut a deck, she'd notice she'd be like, she'd just giggle at me like, "What are you doing?"
That's
But
amazing.
works for me. I don't think my opponent's cheating when I cut your deck 7 times. So
Hey, I mean, and there's no limit to how many times you can cut it, so go for it. Have fun,
yeah, so I've
right?
got you find a thing that works for you. Easily, if you're at a tournament, the best way to counteract that is to take your opponent and give it a couple mashes,
Yep, there's no
hand it right
question.
back.
Yeah, I see nothing wrong with it. Like I said, I've only had one opponent that's gotten a little testy about it, and
Hmm.
it's because, he thought I was looking down at the deck while I was
Yeah, and
shuffling
that's
it.
and that's a thing too. You got to be
So,
careful. Like if you're mashing and you kind of give it a glance, like
yeah.
that can look super
Just look
weird.
away. Just look
Yep.
away. Just
Especially if before the game has started, you're mashing and you're like seeing their cards, you know what they're playing.
yeah.
So I would be kind of wary of the mash before the game. Just
Yeah.
like you said, take it, look away, and then start mashing.
Yeah. Look away. Look to the way I look at it is wherever the back of the card is, that's where my face goes, right?
Another good thing to do is that's when you make your small talk too. You can be
Yeah.
like, "So how's your tournament going?" Like
Yep.
look them in the eyes.
Yep. That's a
Pretty
good
easy.
idea. Yep. Yeah, so I think that's another one. we've seen intimidating behavior, and like I think you already touched on this pretty well at the beginning, where it's like, hey, if they're going super fast, just do your best to have like a very like disarming conversation about, hey, can you like, I always my favorite one is just be like, hey, dude, I'm dumb. I need you to slow it down for me. Like
Yeah.
take the L a little bit, right? Like, hey, I need to know what's happening here
Ooh.
because I need to track it.
That just reminded me there is a huge one and it's really hard to spot and it's like it sucks. It's in every card game and that's slow play.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
slow play is a hard
There's
one.
there's tons you can try to do to like, but some people are just thinking, and
Mhm.
you can't really stop them. Like if they're obviously slow play, you can say, hey, we're gonna pick up the pace.
Yeah,
But you can't be like you're slow playing.
yeah.
Period. Right.
I think it comes
The
down to like as a judge, I will definitely say if there's a judge there and you suspect slow playing, call the judge over and just explain that. And you could even walk away from the table to do it. That's
yeah
all allowed, right? You can just be like, "Hey, judge comes over. You can go away. Like, hey, can I talk to you over here for a second?" And he'll be like, yeah, sure. And you go over and you say, hey, I think they're slow playing. I don't know. Can you keep an eye on it? And the judge will then watch it. And I know for
yeah
me, what I would do as a judge when somebody suspected a slow play, I pull up my phone, pull up the stopwatch. Once their turn started, I'd start it.
yeah
And if their turn was taking like upwards of 5 minutes, we're getting there. And I'm like, hey, this has been two turns in a row that you've gotten over 2 minutes for your turn.
yeah
This is getting to be intense because there's really no good gauge on exactly how long a turn should last, but you have 55 total minutes to complete 3 games. And
right
so it's really kind of that. And then the other thing from a player's perspective is if they are looking at your discard multiple times during their turn,
right
that is a really, really standard one that happens a lot. And it's specifically outlined in the play correct guidelines where it specifically tells you, hey, if your opponent is looking at their discard multiple times during your turn, or during their turn, then this is a good indicator of slow play.
right.
So,
And it'll be it usually only happens if they win game one, right? That's when you'll get or slow play the most, is because they're trying to run the clock out, so you have less time to beat them in a games 2 and 3, right?
right. Yeah. And I think I've unfortunately won that way before, and it wasn't my fault. So I will say that. And
Yeah,
my
that's what I
opponent was
mean.
kind of slow playing on
There's a fine
themselves.
line, and
So,
it's like no, not everybody is actually trying to slow play, but it can happen. Especially like if you win game one and you're like almost tilting because you don't want to like lose your advantage. Sometimes you think a little bit more, and and that is okay, right? Slow play is not okay, but like taking like being flustered can be, right? So
right. Yeah, I
it's
agree.
a fine line. Just be on the lookout for that one.
Yeah, just be on the lookout, and hopefully there's a judge at the tournament. I think that's the
Hmm.
key, right? Like, I just wish that there was more opportunity for more judges to kind of take off and jump into this scene to help out and keep these games fair and
Yeah.
running because I I don't know how it's been. Like I've only judged most of the tournament. I don't think I've even played in a tournament in probably months now.
Hmm.
But when I'm there as a judge, the things that I do interact with, it feels like it makes the day go better, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't know if that's how it is, but it
Yeah.
feels
I
like me
mean,
being there makes it
it,
just
it adds some
easier.
consistency. It adds some like structure, right?
Yeah,
And that helps things smooth things out on
right.
those fringe edges.
Yeah. So I don't know. It just definitely call a judge over. Call the TO over. Hopefully they
Yeah.
can at least
If you're at a
assist.
tournament without like a judge structure, you got to let somebody know.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think cheating sucks, but it's part of what happens in these things. I mean, like I said, just keep an eye out for it. Ask a lot of questions, and like I said, ultimately, it actually will potentially put you into a position where you're more in this like symbiotic relationship with the
Yeah.
person, where you're like, oh yeah, like we're all kind of working together, and we're trying to get to the end goal here, and we want to make sure that it's a fair game, and I misplay all the time. I make
Hmm.
mistakes all the time. And so when people call me out on my mistakes, I'm like, oh, perfect. Thank you. I appreciate you mentioning that because if you didn't, then that would have made the game way worse. So,
Yeah, takes a lot to recognize a mistake from an intentional cheat too. Like there's so many mechanics in this game. You got boosts, you got like inking mechanics now. So don't automatically assume your opponent's out for like bad blood, right?
Yeah,
Don't immediately assume they're cheating, but at least be on the lookout. Protect yourself.
no question, no question. Well, I mean, without any other things, I don't have any other topics today. I
Yeah,
think that's all I've got. I
that's
mean,
perfect.
set champs are on the way. It's going to be absolutely crazy. I think we're starting. Is it next weekend? Got to look it
Weekend
up.
after starts on the
So
fourth,
starts
fourth
on
and
the
fifth,
4th
I
and 5th
think.
of June, or was it 5th, 6th of June,
Fifth, sixth. Yep.
or 6th, 7th? Sorry, 6th,
Ooh,
7.
6, 7.
Let's go. 6th, 7th of June is going to be crazy. But yeah, so definitely get ready for your set champs. Keep on looking up. We've got these awesome deck lists sitting in the channel. As you heard, Sam took the Blurple list that he's already shared with you guys and
Way.
did some work with it. So get
Uh,
out there and do it.
Start of next episode, I'm gonna drop some bounties too. So be on
Ooh.
the lookout for some set champ bounties if you want some inspiration.
Exciting. Yeah, we get
Hmm.
some set champ bounties next week. We get some I think we got giveaway stuff coming up too. We've also got new player kits. I've seen a lot of new players in the Facebook page. So if you know any of these new players, share the podcast, let them come in and give us some comments. And
Yeah,
I
we'll
think we're gonna
hook
have
them up.
some fun stuff so we can do some good giveaways next
Yep,
next time too. So
that's right.
it's
One
exciting.
last thing before we wrap up. I promised I would, so hopefully you've been listening this much, or this far. So shout out to Oliver Eckroth.
Let's
Dude's been
go.
tearing it up. He wanted
Let's
a shout
go.
out, and I told him I'd give him one. So you only get it if you listen to the whole thing, man, though. So
I love it. I love it. Make him wait. That's
that's right.
exciting. That's good stuff. Way to go, Oliver. Congrats, buddy. Awesome. Cool. Well, as I mentioned, my sign off is Justin doesn't say good morning. Submit your deck list.
That's right. See you guys. Take
See you
care.
guys.